Greetings to all my students in the dojo. Welcome back. So, today we're going to talk about Daredevil. We're going to talk about season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. And I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my feelings. To be honest, I had a script written in my head and I should have written it down, but I didn't. But hey, I got the Daredevil glasses. Well, technically they're not Daredevil glasses, they're just sunglasses, but I got the glasses on, so let's just go right into it. And I think I'll start with the lead up or the build up or the hype into this show. I want to talk about the good stuff, and then I want to talk about the positives, and then towards the end of this video I think I want to talk about where Marvel is headed and the state of fandom and pop culture. I've seen a lot of videos or content creators on YouTube talking about it, and I think it's only fair that I do, that we discuss that here. So let's go into the House of Ideas. Let's go into the House of M. Let's go into Marvel, and let's talk about Daredevil. So in the build-up or the hype leading into Daredevil, we heard a lot of rumors. We heard that it wasn't going to be like the Netflix show, that they were going to essentially Disneyfy it, and that they were making changes to Daredevil based off of what had come before. So, for instance, one rumor I heard was they were going to use the Daredevil from She-Hulk. We all know how She-Hulk turned out. And then we saw Daredevil and Echo, which I didn't watch Echo, but I heard that Echo really not only screwed up Daredevil, but also screwed up the Kingpin. We know that Hawkeye screwed up Vincent D'Onofrio's character, the Kingpin. So there were some concerns about Daredevil Born Again, but the hype leading into Daredevil Born Again was there. I'll say it like that, there. And then, as you all recall, the strikes happened. You know, the Hollywood strikes, right? I'm sure some of you heard about them. You know, SAG-AFTRA and the whole 9 yards. And when that happened, we thought, as fans, we thought that Marvel, or at least Disney Marvel, yes, I will call it Disney Marvel, had, I wouldn't say seen the error of their ways, but they started making changes to the original plan they had for Daredevil Born Again. They, started bringing back the old cast, like Deborah Ann Woll as Karen Page. They brought Foggy Nelson back, because originally the rumor were that Karen and Foggy weren't going to be in Daredevil Born Again at all, that somehow they had been killed off screen. And the fans actually revolted and said, no, we got to have Karen and Foggy. And during the strikes, basically, we thought that Marvel was going to turn around. We thought that, okay, they're going to bring back Foggy and Karen, and we're going to get the Daredevil of old, right? So we're getting super hyped into this thing. We're really looking forward to it. We saw the trailers. We got to look at our villain, Muse, which, if you are a comic book fan, then you will know Muse is from the Charles Soule run, which I hear was a pretty good run for Daredevil. And everybody was getting hyped. I mean, we were literally, as fans, we were saying, Marvel is back. We are back, baby. We're ready to go. And then March 4th came. And if you will recall, my fellow students, my fellow Marvel anime fans, you will remember that I made a video talking about the first 2 episode premiere. And I liked them. I thought they were okay. I liked the fact that we got to see Matt kind of cross that line as Daredevil. You know, Daredevil, he doesn't kill, he tries not to kill, but in this instance, he wanted to because he had just seen Foggy get shot, and it was looking good. I didn't like the fact that Karen left. She would have stayed, but okay, I was willing to give it a chance and say, hey, we got a new story. Okay. Um, I love the fact that both Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk were trying to go against their natures. Matt trying to go against the vigilante to stop being Daredevil, to go by the system, kind of like Foggy wanted him to do. I like the fact that Kingpin was trying not to be the Kingpin. He was legit trying to go straight, even though we know it's the Kingpin, and the Kingpin going straight, it's not going to happen, at least not easily. So I like the first two episodes, right? I like the fact that in through episode 2 and episode 3, we got to see Matt Murdock doing what he did in the comics, which was defending superheroes. Same thing with Jessica Walters in She-Hulk, not the series, the comics, but both of them respectively would defend superheroes. Like Daredevil would defend Spider-Man in court, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, what do we got? We got hype. We've got build-up. It looked like that they were gonna change, that they made some modifications, right? From the original script, right? We were all hands on deck. We were ready to go. And then episode 4 comes around. And the only saving grace for episode 4 of this series was that we got to see Frank Castle Punisher, or John Bernthal's Punisher. Okay? That we got to see him, which was quite possibly the greatest scene in season 4. Otherwise, season 4 sucked. Or not season 4, episode 4 sucked. Episode 5, I will admit, I found hilarious. It was funny because you had Matt Murdock in the middle of a bank robbery using his Daredevil senses, trying to essentially give himself a reason to put on the suit again, to become Daredevil. All in all. And then episode 6, we actually see where the niece of White Tiger, who was shot in episode 3. See, I so badly want to say season 3, but it's not. It's episode 3. And so now she wants to find whoever killed her uncle. And it's worth mentioning that the original plot, from what I hear from different content creators and YouTubers, that what I hear was that originally the villains in this Daredevil show wasn't necessarily going to be Kingpin. It was going to be police. It was going to be cops, because the theme of this show, all throughout the show, was cops wearing the Punisher symbol, right? And it's worth mentioning, I believe, do not ask me what year it was, please, because I don't remember. But Marvel actually removed the Punisher, the Punisher symbol, because they thought that it was enraging violence and all that nice jazz. And I really don't want to get into it here. It was stupid. It was crazy. And for some reason, Marvel Entertainment decided to put that in Daredevil. So anyway, White Tiger, who was White Tiger in episode 3 was killed by some dude wearing a Punisher skull-like mask type of thing. Anyway, but I digress. Okay, Anyway, episode 6, Matt Murdock, he puts the suit on again. He goes to go rescue the niece of the White Tiger, who eventually will become the White Tiger. She will inherit the amulet, the whole 9 yards, okay? And we get a little taste of Muse. Flash forward to episode 7, and Matt's new girlfriend named Heather Glenn, which I have my suspicions that this was the same Heather that was in the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, the one that Matt Murdock was actually with, until she leaves him a message on his voicemail, basically saying that she was breaking up with him because she's never around. She was waiting for him to take it to the next level, and yeah, they never did. Okay. Which, if you didn't know, that in the Ben Affleck movie of Daredevil, that Heather was played by Colin Farrell's sister. So that's a little interesting tidbit. But anyway, I have my suspicions that that's the same Heather. Not sure. Don't know. Just taking a shot in the dark. Anyway. I see what I did there. Shot in the dark. Okay. Anyway, so back to the story. So anyway, Muse is like this teenage kid, and he's got mental issues, and he goes after Matt's girlfriend because she's she's a therapist type of thing. And earlier in, I think it was, oh god, episode 3, I think. She was doing a book signing, and Muse finds her, and anyway, so he tries to kill her. Obviously, Matt comes in at Daredevil and rescues her, and it's a good fight. Now, if you don't know the Charles Soule run, this is, again, guys, this is what I've heard from YouTube. Daredevil is basically, he can't see Muse. Okay, now I know how that sounds. I was like, well, Michael, he's already blind anyway. No. I mean, he can't. Daredevil can't use his senses on Muse. To Daredevil, Muse is like a black hole. You just can't see, he can't sense him. He can't sense him, can't figure him out. Anyway, despite all that, it's a pretty good fight until Heather shoots Muse a bunch of times, and Muse dies. So you kill your main villain, your new main villain. You kill him off in the 7th episode. Why? Now, the argument can be made because in the beginning of this season, in episode 1, we see Bullseye. Bullseye's still alive. We assume he's dead after Matt throws him off the roof, but he's not because he's dead, and he goes to prison and everything like that. So if you're making a case that we're setting up for Bullseye and, and Kingpin and all that stuff, fine, but don't hype up Muse. Don't hype him up to be something that he's not. Okay? It doesn't make sense. I don't know why they did it. It really ticked me off. And then I was like, okay, but I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna go see what happens here. Then we get to episode 8. And in this episode, I will say that the girlfriend, Heather, really annoyed the living crap out of me. I mean, it was just getting really, really bad. To the point where I had to ask myself, what is this? This isn't Daredevil. Now, look, I know I told you guys in the beginning that it's a different story, that it's not like Netflix. Just like it is in the comics, it's a different story, different writers. But to me, watching the end of all this isn't Daredevil. I don't know what this is. It is an amalgamation of the writers at Marvel Television wanting to keep the story they had while making revisions because the fans straight up told you they didn't want the slapstick, jokey Daredevil from She-Hulk and the fight from Echo. They wanted Netflix Daredevil. Okay? So finally, we get to episode 9 last night, which is the final episode of season 1. This one I liked. This one, it was okay. We basically see Matt was in the hospital because in the last episode, episode 8, he gets shot at the end trying to save the Kingpin. Kingpin's ultimately going to try to kill him to make him look like a martyr. And basically, we find out that it was actually Vanessa Fisk, Wilson's wife, that put the hit out on Foggy Nelson. And basically, Kingpin declares martial law of New York, basically declares war on vigilantes, which leaves me to ask, where is Spider-Man? Where are the Avengers? Where is everybody? You know, could we possibly see Spider-Man in season 2? But despite all that, I have to give at least episode 9, I give it an 8 out of 10. It was pretty good. And the reason, now, as for the whole series, what do I rate the whole series, guys? Well, I gotta give it a 7. I'm sorry. I am. Look, Daredevil is one of my favorite heroes in the Marvel Universe. And don't get me wrong, I want to specifically say I love Daredevil in his costume. I did enjoy the parts where it was Matt Murdock because he was a regular blind person, right? He was just a regular blind person living his life, doing his thing, going to work, having a girlfriend, whatever, right? But I also do love Daredevil in the costume. I love the stories. This just seemed like they took a bunch of scripts, copied and pasted them together, threw in some special effects, called in the original writer from the Daredevil or not the original writer, but the original fight choreographer from Daredevil Netflix, because Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio asked him to, and basically put it all together and said, here you go, we're done. And so I want to talk about where fandom is headed, where Marvel is headed, and stuff like that. Right quick. I promise I'm going to make it quick, okay? So, first of all, I will say that I think what kind of hindered this thing is how much time they took on Daredevil. I think if you would have released it maybe a year ago or something, maybe a couple years ago, who knows, you might have been able to get the audience, because this thing didn't even chart, okay? I was watching it, a whole bunch of other people, but it didn't even chart, okay? So I think you would have had a bigger audience if you would have released it maybe a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, who knows, right? The other thing that hindered this, and I'm gonna go here, last year, Marvel had a home run with Deadpool and Wolverine, right? This year, you're not doing so hot on the baseball diamond here, guys. You had strike one with Captain America 4. And that greatly hindered Daredevil. Now, because of this, I don't count Daredevil as strike 2. I call it a miss. Thunderbolts, the failure of Captain America 4 and Daredevil Born Again, I have to think will hinder the Thunderbolts, even though I've heard that the Thunderbolts looks like a good movie. But bad streaks may lead people not to want to watch it. Also considering the fact that you'd have to have watched Black Widow to know about the Thunderbolts. And really, the only ones in the Thunderbolts that I know are Sentry and the Winter Soldier. Really. Next up, so that might be your strike two. And then, of course, in July, we've got the Fantastic Four. And I'm praying the Fantastic Four will be good. Otherwise, you're going to have 3 strikes this year. Marvel, nobody's excited for Ironheart. This is all you have left. Now, X-Men 97 Season 2 is coming out next year. And Daredevil Season 2 apparently is coming out next year. I just heard that this morning. Don't quote me. Go find it on YouTube. Okay? Or Google, whichever you prefer. But here's the thing. I have to call it like I see it, which isn't very much. But I have to call this, guys. Star Wars, not in a good place. Marvel, not in a good place. DC might have some hope with Superman. We'll have to see how that turns out. Right now, if you ask me, my last bastion of freedom is anime. Which is why I started this channel. We're an anime channel. So I try to review anime for you guys, and I try to tell you how it is. Now, am I concerned about anime? A little bit, but not so much. But I'll say this, guys. Marvel, if you don't change soon, you will continue to lose people. If things don't change, then there will be nothing left. Unless you go for the old stuff. Because going back in time may just be the only thing to keep us going. Anyway, guys, that's enough out of me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I make another video. And when I do say hit like and subscribe, I do hope that you like and subscribe and share this sucker out there. It really does help the channel. So please, 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 please. I am at 147 subscribers, and I'd like to get up to 150. I'd even like to go higher. So I love doing this. I love making YouTube videos. I love watching anime with you guys and talking about it. And I hope you enjoy it too. Anyway, guys, that's enough out of me. Thanks. And until the next time, remember, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go make it an anime day. And I will see you in the next video.